Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the previous chapter, we went over Salatul Musafir, Salah of a traveler. And I was looking through it, and alhamdulillah, we've covered all the main masail. Inshallah, today we'll be going over Kitabul Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah, as you all know, is a special day of the week, the Friday for the Muslimin. There's a khutbah, as well as the Muslims gather. And it's compulsory upon the men and those who are able to attend. So when speaking about Jumu'ah, you find especially in the previous books, they say that Jumu'ah is only compulsory for the people in the city or the people in the town, and not compulsory for the people who are in the villages. Now, the villages here, they're talking about, the far villages which are remote, okay? And they mention that. Now, in today's time, in a few countries, that may be the case where Salatul Jumu'ah is not compulsory on them. In fact, some of the madhahib, including the Hanafi madhab, they go a step further and say, وَلَا يَصِحُّ فِي الْقُرَى. This Jumu'ah Salah in the villages is not correct, or it's not counted. However, as time has passed, you've got to remember what was considered to be a city in that time is like a village in today's time. So every place is taken according to what we would define, and whether they have the people as well as the knowledge and the expertise to perform their Jumu'ah. Okay, so that's a mas'ala you will see often. Number two is they go on to the shurut, or the conditions of Jumu'ah. Shurut is the plural of shart, which is a condition. There's a few conditions when it comes to Jumu'ah being correct. Number one is it has to be performed in the time of Dhuhr on a Friday. So if the time of Dhuhr had to pass, let's say the time of Asr had to start, people missed their Jumu'ah, here they would make Qada of Dhuhr and not Qada of Jumu'ah. Okay, so first is the time. It's in the time of Dhuhr. Number two is that from the conditions of Jumu'ah is there's got to be a khutbah before the Salah. Khutbah is where the Imam, or the leader, he stands and addresses the people. This khutbah, it's contained, or it has two short talks, or where the Imam stands up and gives the sermon. And what you notice that at the beginning of Islam, everybody spoke Arabic, so the khutbah was in Arabic. Now, in some countries, you find that this khutbah is in the English language. So the Imam stands up, he starts off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending peace and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then he gives his address. Okay, after he's finished, he finishes off the first khutbah, and then he sits for a few moments. Okay, and then he stands up for the second khutbah. Generally, you'll find the first khutbah contains a message for the people. It could be mention of current events, etc. The second khutbah, there could be a little bit of a reminder. It could build on a little bit from the first khutbah. And you'll find there's generally dua, as well as sending peace and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And you'll find generally the first khutbah is a little bit longer than the second khutbah. For those leading salah, for those who are imams, stick to the timing at the masjid you're visiting. Generally, the people, they've come, and we live in an environment where Friday is a work day. People take their lunch break off to come for Jumu'ah. So if there's a certain time, for example, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, stick to that timing in order not to inconvenience the people. Number three is that the person giving the khutbah is generally the person who's going to lead Salatul Jumu'ah. So it's best for him, for the khutbah, to be in a state of tahara, meaning he must be in a state of cleanliness, because straight after that khutbah, he will be leading the salah. Number four is for Jumu'ah as a whole to be correct, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, he says that besides the Imam, okay, besides the Imam, there needs to be another three people, at least three men, who Salatul Jumu'ah is compulsory upon. So if there's one person who's traveling with another person, for example, here they don't have to read Jumu'ah as will come. Or if you're in a place, even if you're staying, let's say in a village far away, and you've only got two people, yourself and somebody else, and you're staying there. Here, Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon you because the shurut or the conditions of Jumu'ah have not been found. And that's if you've got no other masjid nearby that performs Jumu'ah. And then number 6 or number 5 is when the Imam is reciting in Salatul Jumu'ah, he recites loudly. Okay? So he starts off the Salah and he recites Surah Al-Fatiha as well as the Surah loudly. And you find that in Salatul Fajr, they recite loudly Salatul Maghrib, Salatul Isha, Salatul Eid, Salatul Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah is the best day of the week for the Muslimin. It's encouraged for a person to at least cleanse themselves by taking a bath or taking a ghusl before going to Jumu'ah, to wear some of their best clothes, to go early and wait. Okay, and there's many ahadith we speak about the virtue of going early for Jumu'ah. Messenger ﷺ says it's like a person has given a camel if he comes very early, and then speaking about the hours of Jumu'ah. And then a little bit later, he's speaking about the first hour, then the second hour, then the third hour, etc. So you must be there before the Imam starts, before the Imam addresses the people by going on to the pulpit and saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thereafter, you'll find that on the day of Friday, there's other virtuous deeds a person carries out. So they're sending peace and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and that's for men as well as women as well as children. Also, in some ahadith, it's mentioned. Now, notice how I'm saying it's mentioned, that it's sunnah to read Surah Al-Kahf on a Friday. Okay? What's definitely authentically proven is a person who reads 10 verses from Surah Al-Kahf or memorizes 10 verses from Surah Al-Kahf, and they had to meet the Dajjal, the Antichrist, then inshallah they will be saved. As for reading the whole of Surah Al-Kahf, there is a slight debate between the ulama with regards to its authenticity. However, it's good to practice upon because they say its hadith is good enough. Okay? And also on Friday, there is an hour. Now notice the word used by the Messenger ﷺ is sa'a. Sa'a doesn't necessarily translate to 60 minutes in our time. It's referring to a period of time. It says there's a period of time on Friday where no Muslim happens to be making dua except that their dua will be accepted. When is this hour or when is this period of time? The ulama have many different opinions. The two of the strongest being, the first is when the Imam gets onto the mimbar until he's completed Salatul Jumu'ah. They say it's between that time. And the second stronger opinion, which is the opinion of some of the Sahaba, it's the last hour. So the last portion before the sun sets. Okay? The last portion before the sun sets. And a person tries their best to make a dua on Friday as a whole. Inshallah, they'll be able to attain that period of time. Then they tell you that there's certain people who Salatul Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon. Number one, women, Salatul Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon them, but if they had to attend, then there's no harm, their Salah is counted. Also a traveler, Salatul Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon a traveler. Number 3 is a sick person. Salatul Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon a sick person. But if they had to come, then there's no harm, their salah is counted. The last mas'ala to touch on, Salatul Jumu'ah. If a person had to miss a rak'ah, in the Hanafi madhab, the opinion is that as long as you caught the Imam, even if he's sitting just before making salam, you complete 2 rak'ah as Jumu'ah. In the other madhahib, you have to have caught at least 1 rak'ah with the Imam. Okay, they say if you caught less than a rak'ah, you stand up and you make